What is up, lovely people? Welcome back to Blueprint Japan. My name is Osan, and just to update you with some analytics. Okay, so we have 35 listens or plays. We have one more subscriber. Thank you so much, whoever that is. And when it comes to geographic location, we have Japan, South Korea, United States, United Kingdom, Australia, Switzerland, and Turkey. We have reached around, 200 and, give me a second, discovery, 228 Spotify impressions. It's going up. I'm happy. That's pretty good. So yeah, thank you so much for tuning in, for giving me your time and listening to me. And so today is July 19th. 2025, I just turned 29. And I don't want this to turn into like a motivational speech or, a productivity hack. There will be episodes for that, but I kind of wanted to take a moment and reflect. And with the purpose that, or the intention that this episode helps anyone who kind of like is in a similar position, anyone who kind of like needs to hear this or needs to work on themselves more, wants to do that more. And so it's kind of like an honest check-in, basically. And the reason is very simple. Lately, I have been feeling like I've been just floating around. And not like in a broken or in a lost sense, kind of more realizing that I was like stuck in between decisions for a very, very long time. And, the last 6 months, I want to say I was doing things and I was getting by. I was staying busy. I was staying very busy, but I wasn't necessarily being productive. I think that's what I would like to talk about. And I kind of knew it's like I'm going somewhere, like I'm moving, but not really in the direction I wanted. So I've been running my business. I've been, developing Kumori as a brand. I was saying yes to almost everything. I was showing up. And that alone didn't really build momentum. I was active. I wasn't really aligned with myself and my goals. And like lately, especially, I'm going through some personal shifts right now. That just started to like eat at me because that gap between what I say I wanted to do and how I live day to day, it just got way too big to like ignore. So I sat down and then I asked myself, where am I wasting the most time? Because lately I've been spending more time in solitude and like focused and getting into healthy habits and kind of like going back to my 2018, 2019 version, but hopefully, more, more reflected and more thoughtful. And the answer to that question, where I was spending, like wasting the most time, was 1, on my phone, like screen time, and 2, in my head. And so I did 2 things. 1, I cut 1 hour of sleep in general. And 2, at least 1 hour of scrolling time, like screen time, that I don't even enjoy really. And I'm not even on Instagram or any other platforms. I just lost a lot of like time with YouTube shorts, and it's pretty easy to lose yourself because you look at one short and then you start scrolling, and that turns into doom scrolling. And so I wasn't even enjoying that, and it wasn't even content that like resonated with me. So that's 2 hours a day that I can take back. and that I've been doing effectively for a month. And 2 hours a day over 6 months, that is 360 hours. 360 hours. That is, what's that? 9 40-hour weeks. 9 full weeks of energy and focus that I get back. And hopefully get to be more productive in the long run, because right now it's working. I have this podcast. I enjoy writing more. And those hours were just in front of me, just waiting to be like reclaimed. And I didn't realize that. I lost so much time. And that was one thing that hit me really hard. And then I was like, well, it makes sense. I don't need a big life overhaul. I just need to use what I already have, what is already sitting in front of me, and just use it differently. And so maybe you're in the same spot. Maybe you have been delaying something. Maybe you have been sitting between decisions. And so being indecisive is one of the most time, energy, and productivity consuming thing that you can do for yourself. Waiting for clarity. Telling yourself, okay, you'll start when things feel, more stable, when you have your direction again. But to be very honest, life rarely gives you that kind of moment. Like, it's not stability that comes first, it's discipline. It's a goal. It's having a vision and a purpose. And so now I'm kind of like entering this reset. It's not really a restart from zero, because I'm not starting over. It's really, I'm starting again with more honesty, with more clarity, just trying to clean out all the noise around me, because I need that space for creating more focus and maybe more depth in what I'm doing. And so I'm choosing to direct my energy, if that makes sense, toward fewer things that matter more instead of more things that matter less. Because I believe that was where I was losing a lot of time. And obviously it's not only like screen time and, I was never a long sleeper. Like, in general, I was sleeping 6 hours and that was fine. And now I'm fine with 5 hours. And like, I stick to my routine now for a month every day, and I can see progress. And so in the beginning, I said 6 months. And the reason why is because I wanted to set myself more achievable goals. And to do that, I wanted to have a more tangible timeline or deadline. Because 1 year, 1 year feels way too far away for this goal in particular. It's like breaking things down into smaller bits and pieces. Because 1 year it feels so far away. So the only time when I can actually look back at my decisions will be within a year. And so I'm probably also a little bit impatient on that part. But yes, I wanted to break it down to 6 months. 3 months is a little bit too short. So I felt like, being like in the middle of it is just right. And so, okay, I sat down and I'm doing it with 6 months in my mind, because 1 year is kind of too far to feel urgent, to feel like the need to change. Because the thing is, you want feedback, right? Because you want to see how you grew in the past couple of weeks or months. And so the only time when you can really, if you set your goal 1 year ahead, the only big time when you can actually recap for the entire process, the entire period will be in a year. And that's just, I don't have time to wait 1 year. So I'm going to break it down to 6 months. And, that should be enough time to build something, like really like laser focused, build something. It's close enough to stay present. And it's a window. I see it as a change and chance. And so this reset basically starts with clarity. I'm not going to allow myself to have like vague goals. It's really real clarity. And so I sat down and asked myself, okay, what does my progress look like? Not only in business, but in health, in mindset, in my routines, in my relationships with people, but also with myself. And so I wrote that down and I got very specific, because the more detailed you get for your goals, the faster and the more clear you can act, right? And so when you're unclear, you start to hesitate. You don't know where to start, where to search, where to begin with, what to begin with. And so that hesitation basically becomes a habit, which is 100% to avoid. And so I've slowly started to designing my environment, because if I'm relying on willpower, I know myself, I've already lost. Like when it comes to working, I can work 24/7, no problem. Whatever that is, I go pick up trash, I don't mind. I go clean dishes, I don't mind. That's not what I mean. My willpower, I get lazy from time to time if I don't see my progress. And then I stop being consistent. And when I stop being consistent, I stop seeing results. It's really simple math. And so I have been, simplifying a lot. My desk, my workspace, my headspace, my phone. And the goal here is to remove friction, because in order for me or for anyone else to focus, you have to have a clear mind space. And I don't know, maybe that's something you think about as well. Where in life are you making it harder for yourself to achieve your goals, harder for yourself than it needs to be, right? What noise are you allowing in? What noise is like quietly draining your energy without you really recognizing that, realizing that? And I'm also being more intentional with people. Okay, that's not true. I haven't always been intentional, but the more time I spend with myself, the more I know what kind of people I want to surround myself with. And, so I'm basically choosing who I share my energy with. And not really out of ego, but more out of necessity. Because right now, again, I just turned 29. I have 1 more year to hit 30. And in that year, I really want to be somewhere else where I am right now. And if my environment isn't aligned with where I am going, that doesn't mean that that environment is bad. It just means that, they're not part of the next chapter. And so the biggest shift for me, though, is this like rebuilding trust with myself. And that really has to start with small promises. Waking up, keeping my routines, even when I don't feel like waking up in the morning. No, that's not a choice. Especially then, I will do it. Even more than when I don't want to do something, I will do it because it starts with the first step. Because just by nature, motivation will fade. That's, we are humans. We do have days where we are tired, where we don't want to do things. We don't want to be productive. We don't want to go for a run. We don't want to cook. We all know that. Discipline is the more quiet skill, right? It's not really exciting. It's not super sexy, but it is so reliable. It is kind of like self-respect in action. And so I'm trying to build or rebuild a life that I respect, a life that when I look back 6 months in time, 1 year, 10 years, I want to say, okay, you picked yourself up and you did not let go of yourself. And yeah, that's where I am at right now. There is no perfect. There is no utopia where you are flawless. But it's a version that is honest to itself. It's a version that is more grounded, more focused, and more present. And honestly, if you're listening to this, again, thank you so much. However you found this podcast, found your way to me. If you're feeling the same, like use this as a reminder that you don't really need to wait for a new month or a new year. I've never been a fan of New Year's solutions because it's a mindset thing. If you want to change something, you do it now. Like, for example, I want to start going to fitness again. I would say, okay, I'll do it tomorrow or like Monday, right? So it's Saturday night right now, July 19th. I would say, okay, I'll sign up on Monday. No, do it now. Go out now. Do it now. Even if you can't get a membership, go for a run. Go for a bicycle ride. Go for a walk. And I think the next episode I'd like to do about journaling, because that's something I have been doing a lot. But yeah, use this as your reminder. And obviously, you don't need to and you can't change everything overnight. But you have to, I believe it starts with choosing differently and choosing to be more consistent and choosing to be more clear and more realistic. Think about your 360 hours. What would happen if you claimed those 360 hours in 6 months back? Like, what could you build? Who could you become? And again, this is not about being a motivational speaker or whatever, and that's only 2 hours of your day. You can even spend more time of your day, and in 6 months, like I really believe in this, you can become a different person. And so again, this podcast is my open journal. Follow me, because look, in 6 months, I will give myself an update. I will give you an update and go like, okay, this was the episode July 19th. And so 6 months from now, January 19th, we will be talking about XYZ and how I changed or did not change my life. And if I didn't change anything, that doesn't necessarily mean I failed, but it means, okay, I need to do something differently this time. So I do have more feedback. With more feedback comes more clarity. With more clarity, you can plan something new. You can plan something differently. And so, yeah, I'm really curious. And by the way, so I said 360 hours. One thing that I enjoy doing is learning languages. And I never took my time the past like 2 years. My Japanese has kind of like stayed the same, maybe even got worse because I haven't been spending time on that. And so languages you can divide into different categories. Category 1 being the, the languages that are the most easy ones to learn. So French, Spanish, Portuguese, those type of languages. And then category 5 is like the most difficult one, like Chinese, for example, or I think Russian is also, Russian, Turkish should be number 5. Check it out on Google. If you type in languages category hours or something, you should have all the numbers. And to become fluent in the first category, you have to spend around 500 to 600 hours studying that language. And so 360 hours, that means within half a year, like anybody can become fluent in the first category. And so I think those 360 hours really have power to change your life and to shape kind of like a new version of you, hopefully a better version of you. And again, that's just 2 hours of your day. Every single day. That's the difference. Consistency. If you stay consistent for 2 hours every single day, 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour before you go to bed. That is a challenge to anyone listening. Again, you don't need to move fast. There's no reason to pressure yourself. If you're 29, you're turning 30, no reason to pressure yourself, but a reason and the intent to move with more intention, if that makes sense. Less noise, more output, more feedback. More output means more feedback. Input is amazing. You need to have a lot of input to create output. But then to grow, you do need feedback. And to get feedback, you need to have more output. So it's just like this basic loop. I'm 100% with you. And follow me, subscribe, DM me, email me. You have all my data is out there on LinkedIn, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. Let me know what you are working on. If you want to hop on a call, let's see let's see what the next 6 months of clarity, discipline, and presence instead of absence can actually create. This is like an open invitation. It would be amazing to at least get one person to do this with me, whatever you are working on right now. And so, yeah, special episode. I hope it kind of like makes sense, gives you some sort of input. Let's make things count. Let's make life count. And again, thank you so much for listening. Yeah, I'm hoping to get better and better with these solo episodes and with communicating my thoughts in general. And yeah, thanks for keeping up with my BS. Thanks for being interested. And I catch you in the next one. Take care.